Hello there. The Irish Prime Minister has claimed that due to the greater number of people that live in the EU, the bloc will have the upper hand in any upcoming UK-EU trade negotiations. Firstly, as ever, please kick that YouTube algorithm up the jacksie by giving this video a big, fat like. And I do generally upload new videos every single day, so please check back regularly. Now, Leo Varadkar, the Irish Prime Minister, told the BBC political editor Laura Koonsberg that the European Union is a union of 27 member states. The UK is only one country, and we have a population and a market of 450 million people. The UK, it's about 60 million, so if these were two teams up against each other playing football, who do you think has the stronger team? What a blindingly simplistic statement to make, especially given that, as far as I can see, the mighty European Union has been unsuccessful thus far in forcing what it must see as that minnow Switzerland into a subservient trade deal. If Brussels can't bring the Swiss to heel, then I don't see it having much joy with trying to tame the whole UK, do you? And we also now hear that the EU has issued a notice that it wants everyone to treat the UK as if it was still a member of the EU after Brexit Day in 4 days' time, with the Express reporting, officials from the EU are set to contact its EU27 and other partner countries with a request to temporarily pretend Britain is still in the bloc, even after its imminent departure later this week. The Financial Times revealed the European Commission would be delivering a diplomatic note to more than 160 countries with which it has international agreements. It comes as the bloc seeks to help the UK navigate the circumstances of its post-Brexit transition period. The note verbale draft was published on the EU's website, notifying governments around the world that Brussels' intention is that the UK is treated as a member state of the Union and of Euratom for the purposes of these international agreements during the transition. Now, I'm not so sure that this isn't more about EU self-preservation than being helpful to the UK. After all, Eurocrats have been quite happy to use the peace process as a bargaining chip, haven't they? So you have to ask yourself what their real angle is here. So, looking at the Swiss example, it's not all about my dad's bigger than your dad, as Mr. Varadkar would have us believe. And Varadkar playing the big boy is probably driven by the proximity of his next electoral test in the Republic's general election on the 8th of February. And he is under pressure here, with the Independent reporting that Sinn Féin is surging in the polls, now standing at 21%, with Varadkar's Fine Gael sliding 6 points to 23% and falling behind the Conservative Fianna Fáil on 25%. But although Varadkar's personal approval rating has fallen 16 points to 35%, he is still just ahead of the Fianna Fáil leader Michael Martin on 33% and the Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou MacDonald on 34%. So he may be trying to tough it out and win on personality. Now, Varadkar says that the 11 months to the end of 2020 is not long enough to do a comprehensive trade deal. And both he and his Europe Minister Helen McEntee say that the UK should not be allowed to undercut the EU single market. So the UK must, they say, sign up to a level playing field of a common set of high standards, which is, of course, EU speak for coming under ECJ jurisdiction in a sort of customs union as part of any trade treaty. Varadkar was also at pains to point out how closely wound together the EU27 are over Brexit. He said that any dream that the UK had of getting together with Germany and France to impose a post-Brexit deal on the rest of the EU had been put to bed, saying, "That's not the way the 21st century works. That's certainly not the way the EU works." Now, it does sound to me like Varadkar is pushing this hard in the hope of retaining his premiership in the upcoming election, and further, that the EU will be able to force a Brexit implementation period extension, but maybe as much for advancing the cause of a united Ireland as for trade. But there's a couple of things Leo Varadkar should bear in mind. The first is that the Republic of Ireland might want to continue to enjoy the benefit of a free land bridge for trade and people between his country and the rest of the EU 27, a free land bridge that the UK currently provides. And another is that although Ireland is one of the few EU countries that the UK has a trade surplus with, in fact, at circa £13.5 billion, it is the largest of the EU member state surpluses we have. A chunk of that, though, is for petroleum and petroleum products, according to a new House of Commons briefing paper published this month. And this is an area where Ireland is 100% reliant on imports. And according to a 2017 article in the Irish Independent, Ireland gets something like 90% plus of its oil and gas from the UK. As an aside, would you like to know which countries the UK has its largest trade surpluses with around the world? Well, here you go, and this is from that same briefing paper. USA, £44.2 billion. Ireland, £13.5 billion. Switzerland, £8 billion. Australia, £6.3 billion. Saudi Arabia, £4.5 billion. Given that the UK is in a single market and customs union with 27 other countries on our doorstep, it seems we have better luck selling elsewhere in the world. But now let's have a quick look at UK-EU trade in general. According to another House of Commons library briefing paper published last month, in 2018 the UK had an overall trade deficit with the EU of £66 billion. But that is not evenly spread across the bloc. No, nearly 35% of that overall deficit was the £23.5 billion deficit we have with Germany alone. The briefing paper says, the UK had a trade deficit with 15 of these countries, a surplus with 5, and was broadly in balance with 7. But when looking at the graph, it looks more like a deficit with 18, parity with 7, and a surplus with just 2. Ireland, as discussed, and about £2 billion with Luxembourg. And all this might explain why Varadkar is so vocal on Brexit and always dragging the EU 27 into the frame. Because very soon, a third country outside the European Union will be its main provider of both energy and a main trading route into the rest of the EU. Ireland therefore needs the UK tied firmly down to EU rules and as limited as possible in its potential to be successful, diverge, and so cause problems for an isolated Ireland in the future. Something that would also impact on the chances of a united Ireland coming about. But it could be all change in a couple of weeks after the Irish elections on Saturday the 8th of February. That's one to watch. Anyway, if you want to hear more from me, please don't forget to subscribe and also press that little bell or you won't get any notifications. And if you want to see more of me, buy a mug with my mug on it. Anyway, what do you think about this? Please share and comment, and thank you for watching. Please do like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel. And when subscribing, please do remember to press on the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an alert every single time I put up a new video. And thank you very much for watching.